Okay, excuse the lack of updates, but there's times where some of the situations are too personal or too private, so I kind of make the call not to vlog, especially since when the person of interest, when our guest Michael B is actually here, so there's really no, I mean, it's more important that he experiences it versus vlogging about it. And take-home lesson here is that the Philippines is something you have to experience. It's not something that could be told, or just because you have a Filipino friend or you have an OFW worker. Philippines, just like culture, I mean, the definition of a culture is what defines a group of people. It gives their lives meaning, it gives their lives purpose. It's their way of organizing themselves and creating order, and culture encompasses all those things, so many things. And the important thing about culture, it's a shared experience, and it's a learned experience. I mean, you learn culture. It's something that you experience. I mean, that's something you learn through experience. Culture is not something that you could read online, or that you can, just because, like I said, you're married to a Filipina or you work with a bunch of OFWs, does not make you experience or learn the culture through experience. It's being here and being with the people is how you learn the culture. That's how you experience the culture. And unless you experience the culture yourselves, you basically have no idea what is going on. And without knowing what culture is, you have no idea what's going on. And the problem is, there's so many people that love to make comments about things they have no experience and know nothing about. That's why the first rule of BebotsOnly is right, because we are just talking about BebotsOnly experience. It's not your experience, it's my experience. And of course, because it's my experience, it's my learned events or culture, of course I'm gonna be right, versus someone who doesn't know, who has no experience and has no idea what they're talking about. And the last thing you want to do is apply your own experience or your own standards to somebody else's culture or somebody else's standards. So the update today is, we've got a bunch of friends, and as usual, Michael B, the audacity, is up to no good. He's got a bunch of friends over there already, and as usual, I'm like the driver. I prefer the transporter. It has a tougher image when I say transporter versus just like an errand boy or a peon or just a driver. Usually when I go in the hotel, can you tell Mr. So-and-so that his driver is here? It's kind of funny, even though I don't work for them. I do this because I'm a good friend. And so I'm delivering food. We've got a bunch of the usual spaghetti, chicken. So let's get around this light, and they're hungry and they're waiting. Reason why I'm late was because I went to bed late, woke up late, and me and Hero decided to exercise. We usually exercise for like about 3 or 4 hours and then get ready, and I ate lunch at home because I hate this not that I hate the fast food, it's just that I'm just so sick and tired of it that I prefer home cooking. I prefer the boss's home cooking because I don't want to eat the same thing over and over again. I mean, variety is the spice of life, and anything, I always say that you have to have things in moderation. Just as long as you have things in moderation, then it's healthy. You know, there's times to purge, there's always these types. There's a time for everything, a time and place for everything. So that's what I was doing. So that's the update. We're going to be hanging out with some friends. The weeks have gone by really fast. This is our last weekend here with the Audacity, and last weekend here with his friends. So we're gonna do our best to make the most out of it. Anyway, at least it's been a very enjoyable experience for him. Good or bad, the experience for him is something that he always wants to come back to. Like I said, this is his third trip, and I'd like to say, or I'd like to think, he'll have to say in his own live stream that he thoroughly enjoyed this trip more. Because number one, I think it's longer. Number two, I got to prep some of the people, and I didn't have other people that he was overlapping with. And we did a lot of things to, like I said, to prep this time to get him ready for, I mean, you're still dealing with people, and you know, there's only so much you could do when it comes to people. You can't control them, but you can influence their actions. Ultimately, of course, it's going to be their decision. But we did a lot of things this time that he didn't do the last time he was here. I like to think that we learned from those mistakes. There's always, like I said, data coming in, and I always have to analyze them, and I always have to think about like what a lot of this is kind of uncharted territory. Some of it is, some of it isn't, and you just have to be flexible and always make your adjustments depending on what the situation is. And right now it's a lot better than the last time. We're getting a lot more experience, a lot of quality time with the girls that we want to spend quality time with, and making a lot of progress. It's a long, painful process. I don't want to say it's not complicated, it's very simple, but it's still, like with any process, requires time, requires hard work, requires perseverance, requires sacrifice. Let me get out of the way here. Get out the way. Get out the way. I got this big, huge ambulance behind me, and I need to clear a path for that ambulance. So it's a lot much better this time than the last time, in my opinion. Anyway, we'll have to talk about it in the next live stream. Anyway, that's the update. I enjoyed the rest of the video. For the people that are going to watch the unlisted video, and for those who are not watching the unlisted videos, well, then you're kind of have to use your imagination and figure it out on your own. I mean, reality is whatever you perceive it. Does that make it real, or does that make it true? Does that make it the reality? No, but it is your reality, and that's your reality. But the people who actually are here, that live here, that have to face the daily challenges of living here in a poor, corrupt third world country as a poor person, of course their reality is going to be theirs, and it's going to be absolutely different from what you perceive, especially because a lot of it has to do with a foreign culture that most people who watch these videos have no experience with. Anyway, this is BebotsOnly. Like I said, for the people that are watching the unlisted videos, enjoy the rest of the video, and thanks for watching. This is BebotsOnly. Na 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 na.